Hey everybody, welcome back. So it's been maybe 3 months or so since I gave you an update on the train room, and I talked about taking the old layout down and showed you the space that's ultimately going to be the new train room. We've made a ton of progress since then. So I'm going to show you here in a minute what that progress looks like. But just as a reminder, I'll play a quick clip here of where we started and you'll be able to see where we are now. Here's a sneak peek at a new layout space coming soon. You can see I've got a lot of demo dumpstering and finishing work to do. All right, so as you can see behind me, the train room looks really different than it did a couple months ago. And so I have been spending probably every spare minute that I have on the weekends, at night, early in the morning out here getting this place fixed up and ready to start building a layout. So you can see we've started some really preliminary bench work. I have a lot more to do, but we're getting there. I'm a little behind where I'd hoped to be, but that's okay. Obviously, we've made a lot of progress. So this video, I'm gonna focus on the room prep that has been done, just kind of like general flow of the train room, display cases. You can see the bench work behind me and kind of general flow of what the layout is gonna be. I'm still finalizing the track plan at this point, so it's like 99.9% done, but I'll do another video here probably in a month or two on the track plan, and we'll go through the track plan in detail. All right, so it's a little bit of a mess in here. I've tried to clean it up a little bit. I just got my second lumber delivery, so I'm gonna start putting some more 2x4s in and maybe some decking in some areas here in the next week or two. But we'll take a couple minutes here and I'll talk about room prep, what's been done, how I did it, maybe give you some ideas for when you're finishing a train room, and we'll do a quick walk around. So what you see when you first walk in here is that view that I showed. This is the right side of the train room where these two garage doors were. So these roll-up doors. And this whole wall has been painted black, as well as the ceiling, which we'll talk about that later. But this is all gonna be an open aisleway. So the idea here is that these doors are fully insulated. So they are, I think there are 13 doors, so pretty heavily insulated. I have not had any temperature control issues in here whatsoever. In fact, I think it stays cooler in here on hot days than it does in my house. So we're in pretty good shape there. That was a concern about keeping these doors, but so far I'm pretty happy with them and the paint came out good. But the idea here is that, the layout space is over here. And in the summer, we're on like a nice spring or fall day when it's nice outside, I can roll these doors up, drop some screens down out front, possibly. And my driveway is out here. So there's kind of a side driveway to my house, and you'll be able to sit out here, be able to sit out here with friends and hang out or whatever on a, Friday, Saturday night kind of thing and run some trains. So it'll be good for open houses, that kind of thing. But this is visible from the road, so I will put probably some like privacy screens, both to keep bugs out and also kind of minimize visibility when you're driving down the road into the train room. So that's why I kept these doors. I got a lot of questions on that. When you walk back to the middle here, so what you see on the left, so this is going to be a display case. Everything's been drywalled, but where the display cases are going to go, I used 1/2-inch plywood. So it's the same thickness as the drywall. I did fill this hole, but I've since had a dehumidifier in here that sucked a lot of moisture out, and that wood is contracted, so it's cracked a little bit. So you need to go back and fill that. But this has been primed, it's going to be painted, and then the plan is to put 1x4s up on the sides, top, and we'll probably do something in the middle here, like that, so that I will have a display case, kind of built-in display case with Glenn Snyder shelves in the middle. So there'll be like an upper section with sliding plexiglass doors and a lower section down here with sliding plexiglass doors. And then, so this will be the same thing. that you see over there and in the back. And there is, I did the math, I want to say there's like 250 or 300 linear feet of shelf space that will go in here. And I have a lot of the Glenslander shelves already, so that makes a lot of sense. Why display case versus just mounting them on the wall? I have young children, I have cousins, and I would like to have kids from the community here as well. But I don't want to be, having worried about putting a, big legacy steam engine or something, or even a freight car, right? Right here on the bottom where it could be, damaged, accidentally grabbed, that kind of thing. So I thought that's the best of both worlds. That keeps little hands off of them, but also dust. Dust is a major problem that I had with kind of that open shelving concept on my last layout. So this will be the same thing, and as well back there. So I'm gonna build one here in the next couple months. We'll try it out. I'll let you know how it goes. Maybe it's a fail and I end up, not doing the built-in thing and just mounting shelves up there, but we'll see. And then on the layout here, so we'll talk about that. Where the shelves are gonna go, there will be staging tracks on the layout so that you can grab a train off the shelf, put it right here on the layout, on a staging track. So it makes staging kind of like passenger trains and big long trains right off the shelves, or let's say like a big articulated steam engine. It makes that a little bit easier. Moving to the middle of the layout here. So kind of the middle of the room, this will all be open. So control panel and stuff will go over here. And then you can see the turntable. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And then this will kind of be open here as well. So kind of two main tables and open along the back. This garage door, I decided to keep this as well. Same thing, I haven't had any issues with it. This one is a different model than the other two, but it is still insulated and it's been pretty good so far. So I had to seal off a couple extra things for some water issues, but that's been taken care of. And this opens up to my yard. There's a pool out there, so I thought that'd be good in the summer. I will probably put like a little patio or something here. For the same purpose, that'd be nice to hang out here, on like a nice summer evening or something, roll up the doors and my kids can run around the yard and can run trains in here type thing. So moving around to the left side of the layout here. So I didn't take this aisle all the way back. I contemplated whether or not to even take the layout to the wall, but I wanted this storage space and also my mini split. This was really the best place for it to go. And I didn't want to build the layout under it. After talking to some friends, everyone recommended that you want access to that mini split. They can occasionally drip and things. So I really didn't want to have to worry about it dripping on the layout. So that's kind of the general, some of the room prep that has been done. Kind of like general, I should say, walk around tour, if you will. Now let's talk about room prep. So this is, maybe the first thing we'll start with is the ceiling. So this is actually a paneled drywall ceiling. So there are trusses that run this way across the building. You'll see, if you look closely, some of the ceiling's not perfect in a couple spots, and that's just because just the way they are. But this was kind of the best of both worlds for me because I looked at a standard black drop ceiling, but it was going to cost like $3,500 in just materials to do that. Being that this is just the train room, I really didn't want to spend that much money to have a drop ceiling. But I wanted access up above for storage, for engine boxes, set boxes, that kind of thing. There's not a ton of space up there, but when I ran the electrical, I put lights up there and I set it up in a way, I actually put like some storage platforms up there just to be able to store empty boxes on. I'm not gonna put a lot of weight up there, but empty train boxes, it's perfect for it. So I wanted access, but I didn't want to spend that much money on a drop ceiling. So a straight drywall ceiling was out. That would have been a lot more affordable. Look around on YouTube, I saw some videos of other people doing this. And so this is actually ripped down sanded plywood that's ripped down to like 3.5 inches and then nailed to the bottoms of the trusses. And then these are drywall panels that slide in. So when I want to get access up there, they just pop up. There is insulation up there, so if I need to get up there, I just pop the insulation out of the way. It gives me access. It came out pretty good. It's definitely not perfect. I wouldn't do it in my house, but for the amount of money that I saved, I'm pretty happy with it. So I thought I would talk a little bit about lighting here. Just quickly, if you're thinking about building a train room, lighting is really important, especially when you're shooting videos. Or taking pictures and things. You can't have too much lighting. So what you see behind me here are all 4-inch LED wafer lights. And I actually went back and added more of them right before I finished the ceiling. I ran some additional wires because I was afraid I wasn't gonna have enough. Now, when you're looking at it here on the screen, it probably, you pan around the room, it probably looks like overkill. But actually it's not very bright in here. Like when I open the doors, the sunlight outside is much, much brighter and it feels dark in here. So I do have some additional wires run that you'll see kind of hanging down here. Those are not energized, but they are pre-ran wires for track lighting. So I will have a bunch of track lighting in here to help with lighting for videos, solve for shadows on the layout, and just generally brighten this up a little bit more. But overall, the lights came out pretty good. These are all on one circuit. So wiring them up is super easy. They use like next to no amps. So you can put a bunch of them on one circuit or one switch. So maybe the other thing I'll talk about quickly is the mini split behind me. So obviously for a train room, I need climate control. So I need to keep this room cool in the summer and keep it warm in the winter. Temperature fluctuation is obviously not a good thing for things expanding and contracting. And I have a dehumidifier for humidity control. And I looked at a lot of different options for temperature control in the market. I thought about some window units. There was actually a window right here that I took out for a couple reasons. One was risk of theft. It's pretty notorious that people will break into detached buildings through back windows, which is what this was. It leaked, had some termites underneath of it because of the leak and other things. So I took that out, which ruled out the window unit, and ultimately that wasn't the best option anyway. But I quickly realized that a mini split was going to be the best option. I got a quote from an HVAC company, actually two, and they were $7,000 to $10,000 installed, depending on what I went with, which was a lot more money than I wanted to spend, especially for a train room. And so that just totally took that off the table. So I started looking around at other options, and I found what is called a Mr. Cool unit. So this is a DIY mini split. So you install it yourself. If you order it online, it comes on a pallet. You can order it directly from them, from Home Depot, or through some distributors. I used one of the distributors because they provide a little bit more technical support and things if you have any issues, but it was really easy to install. It was a fifth of what a new one would have been. And I actually got a little bit bigger unit than I would have got otherwise if I had an HVAC company install it. So I was kind of right on the line of what two different size units, and I went with the bigger option. But it heats this room up and cools this room down really quickly. I've been really happy with it. My brother and I installed it in half a day, not even a couple hours. It was really simple, straightforward. And so if you're finishing a train room, or if you are finishing any kind of detached room or anything, garage, I would certainly encourage you to take a look at these. I think I'm actually gonna put one in our attached garage as well. So I have no affiliation with them, but just our recommendation. So we'll talk about the carpet here in a minute. That's maybe the other major thing in the floor. I did put a sub panel out here, a bigger sub panel. So what was out here before was a 30 amp panel, and it was down here. It came through a drainage pipe that the former owner installed through the concrete floor. So it like came up through the floor here and went into the house. And so there was electrical wire running through a drain pipe that actually had all kind of water issues and things in it, which is obviously not to code. So we got that ripped out, taken care of, and did this the right way. So this is a 70 amp panel. It has more than enough electricity out here to power the mini split and everything that I need for lights, if I ever want to plug anything in outside or in here, saws, all that kind of stuff. So definitely future-proofed. The other thing I'll talk about is the carpet. So these are carpet tiles. They come in these 2x2 squares. As you can see, I went with black. It was kind of hard to find black ones. There's a ton of these out there of different grades. It turns out after I started installing them, I realized that I think they're the same ones that JD Stucks has. So Jason and I got a good laugh out of that, but they couldn't be any easier to put down. It's basically just, it's like it comes in a little sticky pad. You can kind of see one here. So it's a square, you know, maybe this big, and it's floating. So it's not adhered to the floor or anything. You can do that. I chose not to because, and I wanted carpet tiles because inevitably when I'm doing scenery and things out here, I know I'm gonna spill adhesives and glue and flocking material and all kind of stuff, you know, on some of this carpet. Obviously we're gonna try to prevent that, but pretty good chance that that's gonna happen. So I have some extras. This way I can just pull one up, swap it out. So that's pretty easy. The floor itself, so this was concrete. I scrubbed the whole thing because this was someone's workshop before. And so there's a bunch of oil stains and things out here. I have not had any, you know, real water issues coming up through the floor. I did have a little bit of moisture after like 3 weeks of heavy rain, just a couple, like I wouldn't even call it seepage, but a couple droplets on the floor in a couple places. So this is dry lock. It's a textured, actually dry lock extreme with texture in it. So it gives the floor a little bit of texture, but it'll protect it from water coming up through the floor. You know, one of my main focuses out here was trying to make sure that trains are protected from moisture and humidity. Obviously, long-term, that is a, you know, cause for rust. So definitely don't want trains rusting out here. But that came out pretty well. All right, so if you skip through the other parts, that's perfectly okay. Now we're gonna do a little bit of a walk around, just kind of showing the general flow of the layout itself and the track plan, I should say. So as I said, we'll do another video on the track plan itself, you know, actually looking at where sidings are gonna go, spacing, all that kind of stuff. But let's do a little walk around so you can kind of get the feel of what I'm thinking, where things are gonna go. Specific sections. So it'll be a 2-track main line with several grades and a minimum curve radius of 0.80. So nothing smaller than 0.80 on the mains. I do have a couple, there's a logging loop that's like 0.64, but everything else is 0.72 for yards and things, and then 0.80 main. The benchwork height is 38 inches. Thought that was kind of the right balance for me. And I had to account for the floor too. So usually my last layout was a little bit higher. I'd like to have it a little bit higher, but the floor slopes. So back here, it's 38 inches from the floor, but down here on this end, just the way the building was built, the building is level, but about halfway through the building, the floor actually slopes down about 4 inches. So, you know, over here on the end, this is like 42-inch high benchwork. So I had to account for that and kind of pick a middle point. 2-track main, like I said, 2 big tables. They'll be connected in the middle here. So there'll be like an elevated section in the back. And trains will run past each other. We'll have some sidings, mountains, etc. But more to come. As I said, I think that's probably going to be it for this video, but I'll do another video in the future on the track plan itself. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. I'll post a little bit more routine updates there.